Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, doctor. This is SEAA 3012 open-ended laboratory, and this is laboratory 2. For this test, we are having environmental project 1, E1. So we are group 4. This is our group members. First is me, Hamid Eliwa, and then Irsham Zahril, and then Ji Sheng, Nur Dia Al-Haq, and then Lydia Arifin. This test was supervised by Dr. Noura Liza Binti Hussein. Alkalinity. So the alkalinity of water is a measure of its capacity to neutralize acids, the buffering capacity of a water body, a measure of the ability of the water body to neutralize acids and bases and thus maintain a fairly stable pH level. We have three main objectives. First is to gain knowledge of the methods used to measure the pH and alkalinity. Also to be able to calibrate a pH meter and to determine the alkalinity of a water sample and express it in terms of ppm of CaCO3. Biochemical oxygen demand. Biochemical oxygen demand is defined as the amount of oxygen needed by bacteria to decompose organic matter under aerobic conditions. The objectives of this is to determine the biochemical oxygen demand of water samples. Total suspended solids. Total suspended solids include all particles suspended in water which will not pass through the filter. Objectives for this is to determine the concentration of total suspended solids in water.
Assalamu alaikum, I am Nur Dia Al-Haq and I will be presenting about the apparatus and procedure for the biochemical oxygen demand. The apparatus that we need for this experiment is the dilution water, the BOD bottles, the incubator and also the DO meter. To do these tests, firstly, 3 water samples containing water from upstream, downstream and blank sample is placed in BOD bottles. Each sample is 100 ml. Dilution water is prepared by adding phosphate buffer, magnesium sulfate, calcium chloride and ferric chloride into distilled water. The dilution water is aerated to saturate it with oxygen before use. The samples will neutralize to pH around 7 by adding NaOH or H2SO4. DO of samples is measured by using DO meter to get the initial DO, the DO0. The DO meter is cleaned by using distilled water after every sample test. The bottle is closed and placed in the incubator for 5 days at the temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. After 5 days, DO in the bottles is measured again and defined as the final DO, which is the DO5.
Hi, I'm Lydia and I'll be explaining on the total suspended solid test. For this experiment, the apparatus needed are filter paper, electronic balance, water sample, desiccator, disposable aluminum dish, and also oven.
First, weight the filter paper and disposable aluminum dish on an analytical balance. Put the filter paper into the vacuum pump and turn on the vacuum pump. Rinse the filter paper with distilled water and pour 1 liter of water sample and wait until it is done. Next, turn off the vacuum pump. Carefully take out the filter paper and place it on an aluminum dish. Place the sample in the drying oven at 103 to 105 degrees Celsius for about 1 hour. Take out the dried sample and cool the filter paper in the desiccator. Wait and record the sample. Repeat the drying cycle until a constant weight is attained or until weight loss is less than 0.5 mg.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Isnadari bin Smarazum. I'm going to explain the procedure and apparatus for alkalinity test. The apparatus is pH electrode, burette, measuring cylinder, beaker, magnetic stirrer, hot plate stirrer, HCl of 0.02 m, and distilled water. First, rinse the pH electrode and 150 ml beaker with distilled water. Second, transfer 100 ml of water sample into the beaker. And then dip pH electrode into the sample. And then stir the sample with a magnetic stirrer. Be sure that the pH electrode tip near the beaker bottom without touching the rotating magnetic stirrer. Record pH when constant reading is obtained. Add hydrochloric acid 0.02 m using burette in increment of 0.2 to 0.5 mm into the beaker. After each addition, mix the solution slowly but gently with the magnetic stirrer. Avoid splashing. Record pH when a constant reading is observed. Continue adding titrate and measure pH until pH 4.0 is reached. Data obtained should be recorded in a suitable table. Construct a titration curve by plotting observed pH values versus cumulative millimeter titrate added. From the curve, obtain the volume of HCl added. A pH equal to 8.3, B pH equal to 4.5, and lastly is compute the alkalinity values for both volume of hydrochloric acid from step 12 in ppm of calcium carbonate.
Next, we have the data collection. Parameters and values for the in situ data collection. The data for biochemical oxygen demand, the data for total suspended solids, the data for alkalinity. Next, we have the discussion. For biochemical oxygen demand, BOD is important to measure the amount of oxygen consumed by microorganisms in decomposing organic matters in water. The higher the BOD, the lower the dissolved oxygen in water, and thus less suitable for aquatic life. For total suspended solids, the TSS level in water body is important because the increase of it will affect the diversity of the aquatic life. For alkalinity, the alkalinity of a water body provides information on how sensitive the water body will be to acid inputs such as acid rain. It also plays an important role to control the erosion in piping system. In conclusion, the BOD5 value obtained for the water sample is 5.08 mg per liter. As it is out of range, precautions must be taken to increase the accuracy of the experiment. The average concentration of total suspended solids is 4.0 mg per liter, while the alkalinity of the water sample is 21.4 ppm CaCO3, where the volume of HCl added at pH 4.5 obtained is 2.14 ml. That's all from us. Thank you.